The blood on Vincent Morelli's hands wasn't his own. He stood in his Manhattan office at 3 in the morning. The city light stretched out below him through floor-to-ceiling windows. His reflection stared back. Dark suit. Calm face. Red stains on his knuckles. He walked to the private bathroom. Turned on the water. Watched it run pink down the drain. 20 years he'd been doing this. 20 years of cleaning up messes. Making problems disappear. Building an empire his father started with violence and fear. 20 years of being exactly what people expected. The water ran clear. He dried his hands. Straightened his tie. Walked back into the office like nothing happened. His phone buzzed. A text from Marco, his head of security. It's done. No witnesses. No evidence. Vincent deleted the message. Poured himself whiskey. Drank it standing at the window. This was his life. This was who he was. This was who he'd always be. The morning staff would arrive in 3 hours. They'd clean the mansion. Prepare meals. Avoid eye contact. Everyone knew the rules in Vincent Morelli's house. Stay quiet. Stay invisible. Stay alive. He had no idea that in 6 hours, everything would change. He had no idea that a crying baby would crack open something he'd buried 17 years ago. He had no idea that the past he tried to forget was about to walk right through his front door. Earlier that day, the marble floors gleamed under crystal chandeliers in the Manhattan mansion. Kesha shifted Elise in her arms. The baby's face was bright red. Her tiny fists clenched. Her lungs pushed out another wail. Kesha rocked her gently. Her arms burned from holding the 11-month-old for so long. She whispered soft words that did nothing to help. The other housekeepers lined the walls. Their eyes stayed down. No one moved. No one spoke. They all knew the rules here. No noise. No mistakes. No second chances. Mrs. Chen, the head housekeeper, stepped closer. Her voice came out tight and low. You need to make her stop. Her eyes darted toward the double doors at the end of the hall. The doors that led to his office. The doors no one opened without permission. If he hears her. The doors opened. Not fast. Not angry. Slow. Deliberate. Every person in that hallway stopped breathing. He walked out like gravity bent around him. His suit was black and perfect. His face showed nothing. No anger. No irritation. Nothing at all. That was the part that scared people most. This was Vincent Morelli. The man who owned buildings across New York. The man whose name appeared in whispers. The man the FBI had been watching for 15 years without ever making anything stick. People said he ran the Morelli family. People said he controlled shipping routes and construction contracts. People said bodies disappeared when Vincent Morelli wanted them gone. No one said these things out loud. Vincent's voice cut through the crying. Who is making that noise? Elise screamed louder. The sound bounced off the walls. Kesha's heart hammered. She felt every staff member step back. Creating space. Creating distance from her and the problems she brought into this house. She made herself speak. It's mine. My daughter. Vincent's eyes found her. They were dark. Flat. Like looking into deep water with nothing beneath. The same eyes that watched blood wash down a drain 3 hours ago. How old? The question surprised her. 11 months. He stood there, just watching. Then he took one step forward. The air felt colder. His voice stayed quiet. Bring her here. Every part of Kesha wanted to run. To grab Elise and bolt for the service entrance. To get her baby away from this man. But her feet moved toward him instead. She stopped a few steps away. Her arms tightened around Elise protectively. The baby's crying hit a desperate pitch. Her face was soaked with tears. Her body rigid with distress. Then something changed. Elise stopped mid-scream. Her body relaxed. She lifted her head and looked directly at Vincent. Her small hands reached out. Toward him. Toward the man who just hours ago did something terrible enough to leave blood on his hands. Kesha pulled Elise back against her chest. No, baby. Stay with Mama. But Elise twisted in her arms. Reaching. Insistent. Like she needed to get to him. Vincent stood perfectly still. His expression hadn't changed. But something flickered in his eyes. Just for a second. Something that looked like pain. He raised his arms. Kesha's breath caught. Every instinct told her to refuse. To protect her daughter from this man. But Elise was already leaning forward with both arms out. Vincent took her. The baby settled against his chest immediately. Her crying stopped. Her breathing evened out. Within seconds, her eyes drooped closed. She fell asleep. In the arms of the most dangerous man in New York. The hallway went silent. Kesha stared. Mrs. Chen stared. Every staff member stood frozen. Vincent looked down at the sleeping child. His jaw tightened. Something moved across his face too fast to read. His hands. The hands that held her daughter. The same hands he'd scrubbed clean hours ago. How long has she been crying? His voice was still quiet. Kesha forced herself to answer. 2 hours. Maybe more. She's teething, Anne. When did you eat last? The question threw her. This morning. You worked through lunch. It wasn't a question. He knew the schedules. He knew everything that happened in this house. Vincent shifted Elise carefully in his arms. The baby didn't stir. He looked at Mrs. Chen. Get her food. Something substantial. Bring it to the kitchen. Mrs. Chen nodded fast. Yes, Mr. Morelli. He turned back to Kesha. You'll eat. Then you'll take a break. 2 hours. Your daughter needs you rested. Kesha couldn't process what was happening. This man was supposed to be cruel. Cold. People didn't walk away from Vincent Morelli feeling grateful. They walked away grateful to still be walking. I don't understand. The child is exhausted because you're exhausted. He said it like a simple fact. You can't care for her properly if you're running on nothing. He held Elise like he'd done it before. Like he knew exactly how to support her head. How to keep her comfortable. It made no sense. Vincent looked at her directly. Go eat. I'll keep her until you're finished. But. She's safe. The words hung in the air. Coming from him, they should have meant nothing. He was Vincent Morelli. He made people disappear. But Elise slept peacefully against his chest. More peaceful than she'd been in days. Kesha nodded slowly. Thank you. She walked toward the kitchen in a daze. Behind her, she heard Vincent's footsteps heading back to his office. Still carrying her daughter. Mrs. Chen appeared with a plate. Chicken. Vegetables. Fresh bread. More food than Kesha usually got for dinner. Eat quickly, Mrs. Chen whispered. Before he changes his mind. But Kesha sat there thinking about the way Vincent held Elise. The way his expression shifted when the baby reached for him. The way he looked at her daughter like he was seeing a ghost. Mrs. Chen, Kesha said quietly. Has he always been like this? The older woman's face went tight. Like what? Kind. To children. Mrs. Chen was quiet for a long moment. She glanced toward the hallway. Making sure no one could hear. There was a time, she said slowly, when Mr. Morelli was different. Before his father died. Before he took over the family business. What happened? I don't know all of it. No one does. But something broke in him 17 years ago. Something that never healed. Mrs. Chen looked at Kesha directly. Whatever you saw today. Whatever kindness he showed your daughter. It means something happened in that office. Something I've never seen in 10 years working here. She walked away before Kesha could ask more questions. Kesha finished eating. But her mind kept circling back to one thing. Vincent Morelli held her daughter like he'd held a child before. Like he'd lost one. 2 hours later, Kesha knocked on the office doors. Her hands shook slightly. Come in. She pushed the door open. The office was massive. Dark wood. Tall windows overlooking Central Park. Bookshelves filled with leather-bound volumes. Vincent sat at his desk. Elise was still asleep in his arms. He'd adjusted his position so he could work one-handed on his laptop. Papers spread across the desk surface. His phone sat nearby on silent. He'd been working like this for 2 hours. Holding her daughter. Not complaining. Not calling for someone to take her. Kesha's eyes caught something on his desk. A folder. Partially open. She could see the edge of a photograph. A little girl. Maybe 2 years old. Dark curls. Bright smile. Vincent noticed where she was looking. His hand moved. Casual. Covering the photo. But not before Kesha saw the date written on the folder tab. 2008. 17 years ago. He looked up when Kesha entered. She woke up once. I gave her water. She went back to sleep. Kesha moved forward carefully. I can take her now. Vincent stood. He transferred Elise gently. The baby stirred but didn't wake. Thank you, Kesha said quietly. For letting me rest. For watching her. Vincent's expression stayed neutral. But his eyes followed Elise. What's her name? Elise. Something crossed his face. Fast. Painful. He nodded once. Then he looked at Kesha directly. You're new here. 3 weeks. Where's her father? The question was blunt. Kesha's throat tightened. Gone. He left when I was pregnant. Vincent was quiet for a moment. You have family? Support? My sister. She helps when she can. But she works 2 jobs. And you work here 6 days a week. Kesha nodded. She didn't know where this was going. Didn't know if she was about to lose her job for bringing problems into his house. Vincent moved back to his desk. He opened a drawer and pulled out a checkbook. He wrote quickly. Tore off the check. Held it out. For the baby. Food. Clothes. Whatever she needs. Kesha stared at the check. $5,000. Her mind went blank. I can't. You can. But why would you? Because she's a child. His voice stayed level. And children shouldn't suffer because adults fail them. There was something in the way he said it. Something heavy. Like the words came from somewhere deep and old. Like they came from experience. Kesha took the check with trembling fingers. Thank you. I'll pay you back. No. Vincent cut her off. You won't. He sat back down. But his hand rested on that folder. The one with the photograph. Kesha couldn't stop herself. Mr. Morelli. That picture on your desk. Leave. His voice didn't rise. Didn't change. But the temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Kesha backed toward the door. I'm sorry. I didn't mean. Close the door behind you. She did. In the hallway, her heart pounded. She'd crossed a line. Seen something she wasn't supposed to see. But now she knew. Vincent Morelli had a daughter once. And something happened to her 17 years ago. Something bad enough that he still kept her photo on his desk. Something bad enough that holding Elise made him look like he was bleeding inside. 3 days passed. Kesha worked her normal shifts. Vincent didn't speak to her again. Didn't acknowledge her in the hallways. It was like that afternoon never happened. Except Kesha had cashed the check. Bought Elise new clothes. Stocked up on diapers and formula. Paid 2 months of rent in advance. The money was real. On Thursday morning, Mrs. Chen pulled her aside. Mr. Morelli wants to see you. His office. Now. Kesha's stomach dropped. Did I do something wrong? I don't know. Just go. Kesha left Elise with Maria, another housekeeper who had kids. She walked to the office on unsteady legs. Knocked twice. Come in. Vincent sat behind his desk. Another man stood by the window. Older. Gray suit. Expensive watch. This is Richard Chen, Vincent said. He's a pediatrician. One of the best in New York. Kesha looked between them. I don't understand. Your daughter is 11 months old, Vincent continued. When was her last checkup? Kesha's face burned. It's been a few months. The clinic has a waiting list and Dr. Chen will see her today. Full examination. Vaccinations if she needs them. He'll set up a regular schedule. The doctor smiled kindly. I have space at 2 this afternoon. I understand she's teething as well. I can help with that. Kesha's eyes stung. I can't afford. You're not paying. Vincent's tone left no room for argument. Dr. Chen works for me. He'll send bills here. Why are you doing this? The question came out before Kesha could stop it. Too direct. Too demanding. Vincent's expression didn't change. Because she needs medical care. And you need help. But I'm just. You work for me. That means you're my responsibility. He said it simply. Like it was obvious. If my employees can't afford basic healthcare for their children, that's my failure. The doctor cleared his throat gently. I'll wait in the car. Take your time. He left. The door clicked shut. Kesha stood there trying to understand. Mr. Morelli, people say things about you. About what you do. About how you. People say a lot of things. Are they true? The question hung between them. Dangerous. Stupid to ask. Vincent leaned back in his chair. His eyes stayed on hers. I've done things I'm not proud of. I've made choices that haunt me. I've hurt people who probably didn't deserve it. He paused. But I've also spent 20 years trying to be different than the man who raised me. Trying to break cycles that should have ended decades ago. Your father. Yes. Kesha thought about the way he held Elise. The gentleness. The care. What happened to him? He died when I was 17. Vincent's voice went flat. Best thing that ever happened to this family. There was a story there. Something dark and complicated. Vincent stood. Take Elise to the appointment. Dr. Chen will handle everything. If she needs medications, he'll arrange it. Kesha nodded. She turned to leave. Then stopped. That day in the hallway, when Elise reached for you, you looked like you recognized her. Vincent went very still. Not her, he said quietly. Someone else. Someone I couldn't save. The photo on his desk. The little girl with dark curls. Your daughter, Kesha whispered. Vincent's jaw tightened. For a moment, she thought he'd tell her to leave again. To mind her business. To forget she ever saw that photograph. Instead, he spoke. Her name was Sophie. She'd be 18 now. Would be. Past tense. What happened to her? Vincent looked out the window. His voice came out hollow. My father happened to her. And I was too late to stop it. Kesha didn't sleep that night. She lay in her small apartment with Elise curled against her. The baby breathed softly. Content. Safe. But Kesha's mind wouldn't stop. Sophie. A little girl who would be 18 now. A daughter Vincent lost because of his father. The same father he said was the best thing that ever died. What kind of man killed his own granddaughter? What kind of father couldn't stop it? Her phone buzzed at 6 in the morning. A text from Mrs. Chen. Don't come in today. Mr. Morelli gave you the day off. Paid. Kesha stared at the message. She'd never had a paid day off. Not in 3 weeks. Not in any job she'd ever worked. Another text came through. He also wants to know if you need anything for the baby. Furniture. Clothes. Anything. Kesha's hands shook as she typed back. Why is he doing this? The response took 5 minutes. I don't know. But in 10 years, I've never seen him like this. Be careful. Be careful. Like kindness from Vincent Morelli was more dangerous than his violence. Maybe it was. Kesha spent the morning at the park with Elise. The baby laughed on the swings. Chased pigeons. Ate crackers in the sunshine. Normal things. Simple things. Things Sophie never got to grow up and do. At noon, Kesha's phone rang. Unknown number. Hello. Ms. Washington. This is Detective Sarah Mitchell with the NYPD. I'd like to ask you some questions about your employer. Kesha's blood went cold. I don't understand. Vincent Morelli. You work at his residence. I'm investigating certain activities related to his business operations. Kesha looked at Elise playing in the sandbox. I just clean his house. I don't know anything about his business. But you've been inside his private office. You've seen his files. His computer. How did this detective know that? I clean. That's all. Ms. Washington, Vincent Morelli is a dangerous man. If you have information that could help us, you'd be protected. Your daughter would be protected. Protected. Like Kesha and Elise were in danger. I have to go. Wait. Kesha hung up. Her hands trembled. She scooped up Elise and headed home. The detective's words echoed in her head. Dangerous man. Protected. Your daughter. But Vincent had held Elise gently. Had made sure Kesha ate. Had paid for medical care. He'd also washed blood off his hands at 3 in the morning. Both things were true. That night, Kesha made a decision. She needed to know who Vincent Morelli really was. Not the rumors. Not the whispers. The truth. She opened her laptop. Searched his name. The first articles were business profiles. Real estate developer. Philanthropist. Donated millions to children's hospitals. Then she went deeper. FBI investigations. Suspected connections to organized crime. Witnesses who disappeared. Cases that fell apart. Nothing ever stuck. Vincent Morelli was either innocent or very good at covering his tracks. Kesha clicked on an article from 2008. 17 years ago. The headline made her stomach drop. Tragedy strikes Morelli family, young girl dies in home accident. She read fast. Heart pounding. Sophie Morelli. Age 2. Daughter of Vincent Morelli. Died from injuries sustained in a fall down the stairs at the family estate. Grandfather Dominic Morelli was home at the time. Vincent Morelli arrived minutes after the accident. Ruled accidental death. Kesha sat back. Stared at the screen. A fall down the stairs. That's what killed Sophie. But Vincent said his father happened to her. Said he was too late to stop it. That didn't sound like an accident. That sounded like something else entirely. Kesha returned to work the next morning. Her mind still spinning with questions. The mansion was quiet. Staff moved through their routines. Everything normal. Except Vincent stood in the main hallway. Waiting. Ms. Washington. My office. Her stomach twisted. He knew. Somehow he knew she'd been digging into his past. She followed him down the corridor. The doors closed behind them. Vincent didn't sit. He stood by the window. Back straight. Hands in his pockets. A detective contacted you yesterday. It wasn't a question. Kesha's throat went dry. How did you? I have people who watch for these things. Who called you? Detective Mitchell. She wanted information about you. What did you tell her? Nothing. I said I just clean your house. Vincent turned to face her. His expression was unreadable. Did she threaten you? She said you were dangerous. That my daughter and I would be protected if I helped them. And what do you think? The question hung between them. Heavy. Important. Kesha thought about the blood on his hands. The files. The whispers. She thought about the way he held Elise. The gentleness. The grief in his eyes when he mentioned Sophie. I think you're complicated, she said quietly. I think you've done bad things. But I also think you're trying to be different than your father was. Vincent was silent for a long moment. My father was a monster. He built this empire on suffering. On fear. On destroying anyone who got in his way. He moved to his desk. Opened a drawer. Pulled out a file. The same file with Sophie's photograph. My daughter was 2 years old when she died. The police called it an accident. A tragic fall. His voice stayed level. But his hands shook slightly as he opened the file. It wasn't an accident. My father pushed her. Because I told him I wanted out. Told him I was done with the family business. Done with the violence. Kesha's breath caught. He said if I left, there would be consequences. I didn't think he'd hurt a child. His own granddaughter. Vincent looked at the photograph. I came home and found her at the bottom of the stairs. Still breathing. Still alive. But the damage was too severe. His jaw tightened. She died in my arms. Looking at me like I could fix it. Like I could save her. Tears stung Kesha's eyes. I'm so sorry. I called the police. Told them what happened. Told them my father murdered her. Vincent's laugh was bitter. They didn't believe me. My father had judges and cops in his pocket. The medical examiner ruled it accidental. Case closed. What did you do? I waited. Planned. And 6 months later, my father had a heart attack in his sleep. The way he said it. The flatness in his voice. You killed him. Vincent met her eyes. Yes. The words sat between them. Simple. Final. True. He took my daughter. So I took his life. And then I took over everything he built. He closed the file. For 20 years, I've run this organization. I've made decisions that kept people employed. Kept families fed. But I've also done things that would make you run from this room. Why are you telling me this? Because Detective Mitchell will come back. She'll offer you money. Protection. She'll tell you I'm a monster who needs to be stopped. Vincent moved closer. Not threatening. Just direct. And she's not entirely wrong. I've hurt people. I've made them disappear. I've protected this organization through means that would horrify most people. He paused. But I've never hurt a child. Never hurt someone who didn't know what game they were playing. And I've spent 2 decades trying to turn my father's empire into something that doesn't destroy innocent people. Kesha held his gaze. The blood on your hands. 3 nights ago. Who was that? A man who was trafficking girls through my shipping routes. Using my business to hurt children. His voice went cold. I don't allow that. Ever. So I handled it personally. You killed him. Yes. Kesha should have been terrified. Should have grabbed Elise and run. But she thought about those girls. About children being sold and used and destroyed. Did the police know? About the trafficking? They knew. They didn't have enough evidence to move forward. So I did. Vincent walked back to his desk. I'm not asking you to approve. I'm not asking you to understand. I'm telling you the truth so you can make an informed choice. What choice? Whether you stay or go. Whether you trust me with your daughter's safety. Whether you believe I'm the monster everyone says I am. Kesha didn't answer right away. She stood there holding everything Vincent just told her. He killed his father. He killed a trafficker. He ran an organization that operated in shadows and gray areas. But he also stopped children from being hurt. Protected his employees. Held a crying baby with gentleness that came from loss. If I stay, Kesha said slowly, and Detective Mitchell comes back, what happens? You tell her the truth. That you clean my house. That you know nothing about my business operations. Which is accurate. She won't believe that. She'll have to. I don't discuss business in front of staff. I don't leave evidence lying around. There's nothing for you to tell her even if you wanted to. Vincent sat down. But if you're uncomfortable. If you want to leave. I'll give you 6 months severance. A reference. Help you find other work. You just let me go. After telling me all of this. You're not a threat to me, Ms. Washington. You're a single mother trying to survive. I'm not going to punish you for that. Kesha thought about her apartment. The bills. The medical costs for Elise. The constant struggle to keep food on the table. She thought about the check Vincent wrote without hesitation. The doctor's appointment. The paid day off. I'll stay, she said. Vincent nodded. Then we need to establish some boundaries. For your protection and mine. He pulled out a piece of paper. Started writing. You work your normal shifts. You care for Elise. If you need help, you ask. If you see or hear something that makes you uncomfortable, you tell me. He looked up. And if Detective Mitchell or anyone from law enforcement contacts you again, you tell me immediately. Don't lie to them. Don't cover for me. Just tell me it happened. Why? Because I need to know who's watching. Who's digging. And I need to make sure you're not caught in the middle of something that could hurt you. He slid the paper across the desk. These are the rules. Read them. If you agree, sign. Kesha picked up the paper. It was straightforward. Boundaries about work hours. Privacy. Communication. At the bottom was a line that made her pause. Vincent Morelli will provide healthcare, childcare assistance, and emergency financial support for Kesha Washington and her dependent child as long as she remains employed at this residence. She looked up. This is a contract. Yes. You're guaranteeing support for my daughter. Yes. Why? Vincent's expression softened. Just slightly. Because Sophie didn't get the chance to grow up. Didn't get to be protected. Didn't get to have a mother who fought for her. His voice dropped. But Elise does. And I can help make sure she has what she needs. So I will. Kesha's eyes burned. She picked up the pen. Signed her name. Vincent countersigned. Handed her a copy. Thank you, Kesha whispered. Don't thank me yet. This life is complicated. Dangerous sometimes. You'll see things you don't like. You'll wonder if you made the right choice. He stood. Walked to the window. But I promise you this. As long as you work for me, you and your daughter are under my protection. No one touches you. No one threatens you. No one makes you afraid. The words should have sounded empty. Like a mob boss making promises he wouldn't keep. But Kesha heard the weight behind them. The certainty. Vincent Morelli had failed to protect his daughter once. He wouldn't fail again. One more thing, Vincent said. Elise is welcome in this house. If you need to bring her to work. If she's sick and you can't find care. You bring her here. But the noise. I don't care about the noise. She's a baby. Babies cry. Anyone who has a problem with that can find work elsewhere. He turned to face her. And if you ever feel unsafe. If someone threatens you. If anything happens. You call me. Day or night. He handed her a card with a phone number. This line reaches me directly. No one else. Kesha took the card. Slipped it into her pocket. She was making a deal with a man who killed people. Who ran an empire built on his father's violence. But she was also making a deal with a man who understood loss. Who protected children. Who kept his word. I should get back to work, Kesha said. Vincent nodded. Mrs. Chen has your new schedule. You're down to 5 days a week. Better hours. You don't have to. I do. You need time with your daughter. And she needs time with you. Kesha left the office with the contract in her hand and questions in her mind. She just signed her name to something she didn't fully understand. But as she walked down the hallway, she felt something she hadn't felt in years. Safe. Even if that safety came from the most dangerous man in New York. 3 weeks passed quietly. Kesha worked her new schedule. 5 days. Better hours. Time with Elise in the evenings. Vincent kept his distance. Professional. Polite. He'd nod when they passed in the hallways. Nothing more. But Kesha noticed small changes. The kitchen always had fresh fruit now. Organic baby food appeared in the pantry. A high chair showed up in the staff dining room. No one questioned it. Dr. Chen came by twice for follow-up appointments with Elise. The baby was thriving. Growing. Healthy. Everything was fine. Until Detective Mitchell showed up at Kesha's apartment. It was 8 at night. Elise was already asleep. Kesha opened the door to find the detective standing there with another officer. "Ms. Washington. We need to talk." Kesha's heart pounded. "It's late. My daughter is sleeping. This won't take long. May we come in?" Kesha thought about the card in her wallet. Vincent's direct line. She let them in. Detective Mitchell sat on the couch. The other officer stayed by the door, blocking it. "You've continued working for Vincent Morelli," Mitchell said. "Yes. Even after our conversation. Even after I told you what kind of man he is." Kesha kept her voice steady. "I clean his house. That's all. You've been seen entering his private office. Multiple times. Staying for extended periods. They were watching her. Following her. He calls me in sometimes. To discuss my schedule. My daughter's needs." Mitchell leaned forward. "Kesha, I'm going to be direct with you. We know Vincent Morelli runs the largest criminal organization in New York. We know he's responsible for at least a dozen murders. We just can't prove it." She pulled out a folder. Opened it. Photos. Vincent meeting with men in dark suits. Vincent at shipping yards. Vincent entering buildings that Kesha recognized from news reports about organized crime. "We've been building a case for 5 years. We're close. But we need someone on the inside. Someone he trusts." Mitchell looked at her directly. "Someone like you. I'm not a spy. You're a mother trying to protect her child. And right now, your child is in the home of a killer." The words hit hard. Kesha thought about Elise sleeping in the next room. "He's never threatened us. Never done anything to make me afraid. Not yet. But men like Vincent Morelli are unpredictable. One wrong move and you could become a liability." Mitchell slid a piece of paper across the coffee table. "This is a cooperation agreement. You provide us information about his activities. His meetings. His contacts. In exchange, we protect you. We relocate you and your daughter. Give you a new start." Kesha stared at the paper. "You want me to betray him? I want you to do the right thing. Help us put a dangerous criminal behind bars. And if I say no?" Mitchell's expression hardened. "Then you're choosing to protect a man who kills people. A man who will eventually drag you down with him." The officer by the door shifted. A subtle reminder that Kesha didn't have much choice. "I need time to think. You have 24 hours. After that, we'll assume you're complicit in his activities." Mitchell stood. Handed Kesha a card. "Call me. Before it's too late." They left. Kesha sat in the silence. Shaking. She pulled out Vincent's card. Stared at the number. Then she made the call. Vincent arrived at her apartment 30 minutes later. He didn't come alone. 2 men in dark suits waited in the hallway. Security. Kesha let him in. He looked around the small space. 1 bedroom. Cramped kitchen. Nothing like his mansion. "Tell me what happened." Kesha repeated the conversation. Every word. Every threat. Vincent's expression stayed calm. But she saw his jaw tighten. "They're getting desperate," he said quietly. Which means they don't have what they need. They have photos. Evidence of meetings. Meetings aren't crimes. I'm a businessman. I meet with lots of people. He sat down on the couch. The cooperation agreement. Did you sign it? No. Good. Don't. Kesha wrapped her arms around herself. She said you're a killer. That you've murdered at least a dozen people. Vincent didn't deny it. I've killed people who deserved it. People who hurt children. Who trafficked drugs to kids. Who preyed on the vulnerable. The law should handle that. The law is slow. Corrupt. By the time they move, more people are hurt. More lives destroyed. He looked at her directly. I'm not a hero, Kesha. I'm a man who decided that if I'm going to run a criminal organization, I'm going to run it with rules. With boundaries. With consequences for people who cross lines. That doesn't make it right. No. It doesn't. But it makes it better than what my father built. Kesha thought about the girls being trafficked. About the man Vincent killed to stop it. What happens now? If I don't cooperate? They'll keep watching. Keep pressuring. They might arrest you on some minor charge. Try to force your hand. Vincent pulled out his phone. Made a call. I need you to look into Detective Sarah Mitchell. Full background. Who she's working with. What cases she's built. He hung up. Looked at Kesha. I'm going to make some calls. By tomorrow morning, Detective Mitchell will be reassigned. Her investigation will be handed to someone else. You can do that. I know people. People who owe me favors. He stood. Pack a bag. Essentials for you and Elise. You're staying at the mansion until this settles. I can't just. Yes, you can. It's not safe here. They know where you live. They'll keep coming back. Kesha looked toward Elisa's room. The baby still sleeping peacefully. Okay. 20 minutes later, they were in Vincent's car. Driving through Manhattan at midnight. Elise asleep in her car seat. The mansion was quiet when they arrived. Mrs. Chen met them at the door. The guest suite is ready, she said softly. I put baby supplies in there. Diapers. Formula. Everything you need. Vincent carried Elise upstairs. Kesha followed. The guest suite was bigger than her entire apartment. King bed. Private bathroom. A crib already set up in the corner with soft blankets. Vincent laid Elise down gently. The baby stirred but didn't wake. Get some rest, he said. We'll talk more in the morning. Vincent. Kesha stopped him at the door. Why are you doing all this? Really? He was quiet for a moment. Because 17 years ago, I couldn't protect my daughter. I couldn't keep her safe from a monster. He looked back at Elise. But I can protect yours. And I will. No matter what it costs. He left. Kesha sat on the edge of the bed. Looking at her daughter sleeping peacefully in a mansion owned by a man the police wanted to destroy. She'd crossed a line tonight. Chosen a side. She just hoped it was the right one. Morning came with soft light through silk curtains. Kesha woke to find Elise already awake. Playing with her toes. Happy. There was a knock on the door. Come in. Mrs. Chen entered with a tray. Fresh fruit. Eggs. Toast. Orange juice. Mr. Morelli asked me to bring you breakfast. He's in his office when you're ready. Kesha fed Elise. Got dressed. Tried to prepare herself for whatever came next. She found Vincent at his desk. He looked like he hadn't slept. Detective Mitchell was reassigned this morning, he said without preamble. Her case has been transferred to a federal task force. They'll start from scratch. It'll take them months to get where she was. Kesha sat down. How did you do that? I told you. I know people. One phone call to the right person and investigations get shuffled around. He pulled out a file. But there's something you need to know. Something I found out last night. He slid the file across the desk. Kesha opened it. Her blood went cold. Photos of her. Of Elise. Taken over the past month. At the park. At the grocery store. At her apartment. Mitchell had you under surveillance for weeks before she contacted you. She was building a profile. Looking for pressure points. Vincent's voice was hard. She was going to threaten to take Elise away. Claim you were an unfit mother for working in my home. Force you to cooperate. Kesha's hands shook. She was going to take my daughter. She was going to try. I wouldn't have let it happen. But yes, that was her plan. Rage burned through Kesha's fear. How is that legal? It's not. But Mitchell plays dirty. She's built her career on forcing people to cooperate through intimidation and threats. He closed the file. She won't bother you again. I made sure of that. What did you do? I reminded certain people that Mitchell's methods are questionable. That her cases tend to fall apart under scrutiny. That she's a liability. Vincent leaned back. By the end of the week, she'll be riding a desk in Staten Island. Nowhere near you. Nowhere near this investigation. Kesha should have felt relieved. Instead, she felt the weight of what Vincent just did. He'd destroyed a detective's career. For her. For Elise. You didn't have to do that. Yes, I did. She threatened you. Threatened your daughter. I don't allow that. He stood. Walked to the window. You need to understand something, Kesha. I meant what I said. You and Elise are under my protection now. That means I handle threats before they become problems. Even if those threats are police. Especially if they're police. I don't care about badges. I care about keeping the people in my house safe. Kesha thought about everything that happened. The contract. The threats. The choice she made. What happens now? Now you decide if you want to stay. If you can live with knowing what I am. What I do. How I handle problems. Vincent turned to face her. I won't lie to you. I won't pretend to be something I'm not. I run a criminal organization. I make decisions that most people would find horrifying. I protect what's mine through whatever means necessary. He paused. But I also keep my word. I protect my people. I make sure children are safe. And I'm trying every day to be better than the man who raised me. Kesha stood. Walked to the window beside him. My whole life, I've been told to trust the police. To believe in the system. To do the right thing. She looked at Vincent. But the system didn't protect me when Elisa's father left. Didn't help when I couldn't afford healthcare. Didn't care when I was struggling to survive. She took a breath. You did. A man everyone calls a monster showed me more kindness than anyone else ever has. Vincent's expression softened. That doesn't make what I do right. No. But it makes it real. Honest. You told me the truth. You gave me a choice. You protected my daughter when someone threatened her. Kesha met his eyes. So yes. I'm staying. Because I trust you more than I trust people who hide behind badges and make threats. Vincent nodded slowly. Then we move forward. You work here. You raise Elise. You have everything you need. And when the next investigation comes, we handle it. Together. I don't ask you to lie. I don't ask you to cover for me. I just ask you to tell the truth. That you work here. That you take care of your daughter. That you know nothing about my business. He smiled slightly. Because you don't. And you won't. I keep that part of my life separate. Kesha understood. He was protecting her. By keeping her ignorant, he kept her safe. Okay. Vincent extended his hand. Partners then. In this strange arrangement we've created. Kesha shook his hand. Partners. 6 months later, Kesha sat in the mansion's garden watching Elise take her first steps. The baby wobbled. Fell. Laughed. Tried again. Vincent sat on the bench beside her. He'd started joining them sometimes. Quiet moments in the afternoon. She's determined, he said. Like her mother. Vincent smiled. A real smile. Kesha had seen more of those lately. The FBI investigation fizzled. The new task force found nothing. Eventually, they moved on to other targets. Kesha's life settled into something unexpected. She worked. She raised Elise. She lived in the guest suite that became her permanent home. The other staff accepted it. No one questioned why Kesha had different arrangements. Why her daughter had the run of the mansion. Why Vincent sometimes held Elise when she was fussy. They just knew it was how things were now. I got you something, Vincent said. He handed her an envelope. Inside was a deed. To an apartment. In her name. Vincent, I can't. It's yours. Paid in full. So you always have options. Always have a place that's just yours. Kesha stared at the deed. Why? Because you should never feel trapped. Never feel like you have to stay somewhere because you have no choice. He looked at Elise. If you decide tomorrow that you want to leave. That this life isn't for you. You have somewhere to go. Somewhere safe. Tears stung Kesha's eyes. Thank you. You've given me something I didn't think I'd ever have again, Vincent said quietly. A chance to protect a child. To make sure she grows up safe and happy. To not fail again. Elise took 3 wobbling steps and fell into Kesha's arms. Laughing. Proud. She's going to be fine, Kesha said. We both are. Vincent watched them. The ghost of his daughter's memory still there in his eyes. But softer now. Gentler. Yes, he said. You are. The sun set over Manhattan. The city spread out below them. Dangerous. Beautiful. Complicated. Just like the man who protected them. Just like the choice Kesha made. She'd walked into Vincent Morelli's mansion expecting a monster. She found something else instead. A man who'd lost everything trying to be better than his father. A man who kept his word even when the world expected him to break it. A man who understood that sometimes the line between good and evil wasn't as clear as people wanted it to be. And in that gray space, in that complicated truth, Kesha found something she never expected. Home. Everyone thinks they know who the monster is in this story. But do they? Backhand index pointing down, be honest. Do you think the Mafia billionaire is protecting her, or slowly claiming her? Watch till the end before answering. Subscribe if you want part 2, this gets darker than you expect.